That concludes oral questions for today. Private notice question on housing and planning policy changes. Baroness Taylor of Stevenage.
My Lords, I beg leave to ask a question of which I have given private notice. The question is as follows. To ask His Majesty's Government what changes they plan to make to housing and planning policy. And can I draw attention to my interest in the register, as I'm a serving council on both Stevenage Borough Council and Hertfordshire County Council.
Thank you. I would like to respond by saying that the Government will meet the manifesto commitment to deliver 1 million homes over the course of this Parliament. This is through the regeneration of places, including ambitious plans in Cambridge, London and Leeds. And we are consulting on permitted development rights and local plans, increasing funding to unblock the planning backlog and launching the Office for Place to lead a design revolution. The system, enhanced by the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill, will therefore ensure development is sustainable and welcomed by its communities.
My Lords, this announcement slipped out today after the Commons has gone into recess, only serves to reinforce the impression of a government in chaos over the multiple layers of housing crisis our country is now facing. With over 1 million people on social housing waiting lists and 7,000 social rented homes built last year, does the Noble Baroness the Minister really think a few flats built over chip shops is going to solve the problem? My Lords, it's like putting a sticking plaster on a severed limb. Estimates are that we need to build 300,000 homes a year, and we are nowhere near that. Ministers are still ignoring the fact that scrapping local house building targets has sent construction into a nosedive, and no reviews, press releases or empty promises can hide that. Can I therefore ask the Minister whether the Government has produced an impact assessment of the effect of their proposed changes to the National Planning Policy Framework, including the scrapping of national house building targets? And if so, what was the finding of that assessment for house building numbers? We need bold action to get Britain building, and that starts with restoring housing targets.
Thank you. With regards to the impact assessment, I will have to go back to the Noble Lady with the response to that in writing. However, with regards to housing supply, we are, as I said, on track to deliver our target of 1 million homes this Parliament, and we are already almost 70% of the way there. Housing supply has been at a 30-year record level, with the 3 highest annual rates of housing supply having all come since 2018. More than 2.2 million homes have been delivered in England since 2010, and we remain committed to our target of delivering those 300,000 homes a year. Our £11.5 billion affordable homes programme will deliver thousands of affordable homes for both rent and to buy.
My Lords, clarify whether the new towns policy is now to be revised, in which case that's enormously welcome. And secondly, is she aware that the private rental market is in chaos at this point of time, and does that not need the urgent attention of ministers to sort it out? And thirdly, is she aware that young couples, as I'm sure she is, need the opportunity to buy a home, and is Her Majesty's Government looking seriously at a revised scheme for Help to Buy?
Thank you for those multiple questions, and I'll try and do them justice. Affordable housing is a serious commitment by this government, and indeed the £11.5 billion Affordable Homes programme is delivering thousands of homes for both rent and to buy across the country. And the Levelling Up White Paper committed to increasing the supply of social rented homes, and a large number of the new homes have been delivered through the Affordable Homes programme so far. With regards to the other questions, I will get back to my noble lord in writing.
Can the Minister confirm that, if we're going to have these targets met to build more houses, we need the people to build them? Can she confirm the figures that 35% of the construction industry workforce are over the age of 50 and just 20% are under the age of 30? And the estimate is that we'll need 43,000 more construction workers in the construction industry per year to fill the gap. What's the government doing to achieve that?
Thank you for the question. With regards to specific numbers, I don't have those with me today, and I will actually make sure that those numbers are provided to you by the relevant office. With regards specifically to the SMEs, we do have various activities going on to support the sector and, in fact, to support all of their needs with regards to their supply of the workforce.
My Lords, I'm sure we're all delighted that the government's housing targets are back on track. But can my noble friend say if His Majesty's government has taken note of the Natural England advice to local planning authorities concerning nutrient neutrality, which has resulted in a blockade on new house development in 14% of England's land area? And is it the case that the government will take steps in this regard, as hinted in the press?
Thank you for your comments, my noble lord, and I can actually say that nutrient pollution is an urgent problem, and the government is clear that nutrient neutrality can only be an interim solution. This is in the broader context of all the other environmental and biodiversity issues. This is why we're taking significant action to tackle pollution at source and restore our protected sites. And through the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill, we're ensuring the upgrade of wastewater treatment works in nutrient neutrality catchments by 2030. And this will ameliorate pollution at source and help SMEs by reducing the cost of mitigation by up to 96%. Government investments in schemes like the Natural England Nutrient Mitigation Scheme and the Deluxe Local Nutrient Mitigation Fund will further boost the supply of mitigation, which will unlock housing delivery. And we're working closely with the Environment Secretary, Natural England and the Environment Agency to consider whether there is more that can be done to accelerate progress in this area. And I'm looking forward to the recommendations of my noble friend, Lord Monaghan, and this committee on this matter.
My Lords, thank you very much. My Lords, government have announced that our major towns and cities must increase by 35% their housing numbers, so-called urban uplift, while simultaneously announcing that the Green Belt is to be further protected. Minister, where does the government get the evidence for this significant change in policy direction, inflicting high-density housing, increasing traffic and pollution, and a greater strain on all local infrastructure in those areas? Does the Minister not agree with me that all local authorities should shoulder their fair share of meeting the nation's housing need? And when the standard formula is reassessed next year, will it actually reflect fairness and not political expediency?
Thank you to my noble lady for that question. And actually, the regeneration and renaissance of 20 cities is the fundamental cornerstone of today's announcements and those made previously, to accelerate, of course, the transformation, intensification and regeneration of our cities, building on the work that we have already seen and started in Wolverhampton and Sheffield. This government will allocate £800 million from the 1.5 Brownfield Infrastructure and Land Fund to unlock some 56,000 new homes on brownfield sites, taking the infrastructure first approach to build up our cities, in addition to a further £550 million for Homes for England to deploy nationally. They're therefore providing Greater Manchester with some £150 million going to Andy Burnham to unlock some 7,000 new homes, and in the West Midlands some £100 million is going to Andy Street to unlock some 4,000 new homes. Creating a new partnership with Leeds City Council to drive housing and regeneration, building up the financial services sector and the new Bank of England presence. So all of this is actually building on brownfield rather than greenfield, and of course, as and when necessary, all of these things will come to this House.
The percentage of the land in England covered by national parks, areas of outstanding natural beauty and the Green Belt.
I will have to get back to the noble lord with those specific figures from the department. Thank you.
My Lords, one of the challenges facing rural areas is an acute shortage of affordable housing.
Statistics from the National Housing Federation show that social housing waiting lists in rural areas have grown by 31% compared with just 3% in urban areas. It's having a huge impact on rural sustainability as the average age increases, and it's leading to the closure of schools and post offices and so on. Could the noble Baroness tell us what is being done specifically to unblock this logjam of providing more affordable housing in rural areas?
Thank you for that question, my noble Lord Prelate. Right, Reverend Prelate. Apologies, this is my first time at dispatch box, and appellations are obviously not something I have quite mastered yet. With regards to social housing, and in particular with regards to the rural housing, there is a debate in this chamber this afternoon which I will respond in detail to. However, of course, this government is committed to delivering more social housing so that everyone has access to a high-quality, affordable place to live. And this remains a key element of our plan to end the housing crisis and to tackle homelessness and, of course, more people onto the housing ladder. That 11.5 billion affordable housing programme that I previously mentioned will deliver thousands of affordable homes for both rent and to buy across the country. And it's of course vital that we build more of those affordable forms of social housing, that's to say social rent homes. And we previously said that the affordable homes programme will deliver some 32,000 homes for social rent, which we are hoping that we can actually increase this to 40,000 social rent homes. I understand that in rural areas this is more challenging to deliver given that we don't have so many high volume homes, but we will address that later on this afternoon.
My Lords.
I declare my interest, and I ask the noble lady, the Minister, whether she could reflect on that response she gave about high-quality housing that will be built. As she will be aware, we are currently building homes that are not fit and not of a standard to deal with the climate that we are experiencing now, both in terms of heat and in terms of their energy efficiency. Higher energy efficiency standards supported by government actually save tenants and householders money. We are expecting a new building standards and new building regs in 2025, yet we're still waiting for a consultation on them. Could she tell me, and right if she doesn't have the information now, when we're going to see that consultation?
Thank you to the noble lady for her question. And with regards to quality of homes, we have a legacy of stock of poor quality housing that is risking people's health. And since 2010, we have reduced the number of non-decent homes by over 2 million. And we are going further to halve non-decent rented homes by 2030. We will update the Decent Home Standard and introduce it in the private rented sector for the first time. And we're delivering the Social Housing Regulations Act that has achieved royal assent last week. The Act allows the regulator to issue unlimited fines to failing landlords to deliver as well as law and to ensure serious hazards are addressed quickly. Finally, of course, we will ensure the quality of new builds through plans to consult on a future home standard to create beautiful, sustainable homes and a new homes ombudsman that will hold developers to account for shoddy new builds. With regards to the rest of the questions that my noble lady has put, I will reply to her in writing.
My Lords, today's speech promised radical action to unlock the supply of new homes, which I'm sure we'll all welcome. Can my noble friend say whether today's announcements involve any amendments to the Levelling Up Bill currently before your Lordship's House? And if not, will the government smile on some of my amendments which have the same objective?
Well done, George.
Thank you to my noble friend Lord Young for that question. We are bringing forwards ambitious and wide-ranging reforms through the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill, which my noble friend will know about, and it's currently being debated here in the Lord's report, including to modernise the planning system. And the planning measures will, of course, give local leaders and communities the tools they need to regenerate towns and cities and to create better places and to restore local pride. The planning elements of the bill, as my noble friend will know, including amendments raised by peers and tabled by peers, will be debated in due course in early September.
Young. Could I ask the Minister whether the government plans to table amendments in view of the fact there have been a substantial number of changes proposed over the last 48 hours in the media? We go into the next day of report when we start the planning chapters of the bill on Monday, the 4th of September. Is the government going to be proposing amendments itself to that bill to reflect the announcement it has just been making?
Yeah.
Thank you to the noble lord for that question, and it is noted, and I will refer your question to my noble friend, the Minister, on a return.